Okay,
Perfect.
there we go. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that.
All right. For the record, just so it's clear, the recording of the session had stopped, and our discussion had also stopped at the same time. So now we're picking back up exactly where the recording had stopped before. So, okay, Commissioner Bufalino, please continue.
We're on to question number 7, which is partisan versus nonpartisan forms of government. Currently, as you know, the township committee form of government is a partisan form of government, where you have a primary in June and a general election in November. Other forms allow for council members to be elected on a nonpartisan basis. What are your thoughts, similar to the Board of Education, nonpartisan? What are your thoughts about that, Mike?
I think, listen, all politics are local, but the divisiveness and partisanship in this town, and anywhere, any town really, has been out of control. I don't believe this town benefits from a primary system. I would, look at the township level. We don't have any say over women's health issues. We don't have any say over, Second Amendment issues. We don't have any say over major political, firestorm issues, major political issues in the country. But unfortunately, we're tied. When I ran in 2016, I was on the line with Donald Trump. And I've been a Republican my whole life. I agreed with a lot of his issues, but I've met Donald Trump several times. He's a buffoon. The man he wasn't presidential. I'm a proud card-carrying member of the Theodore Roosevelt Association, Sagamore Hill branch. I'm a big proponent of conservatism and conserving open space and nature. And I don't believe that at the local level, tying oneself to national politics helps the town in any way. I know that there's a big issue. This group, this body will hear from neighboring towns, especially popular people, elected officials from neighboring towns, saying that this is a threat, saying that this is some sort of liberal Democrat takeover of Homedale. Be careful, because this is about the people of Homedale dictating their own destiny and their own future. Don't let that scare you, because this commission and the people that are on this commission are it's a threat to the power that be. I've heard other speakers talk about the county committee system that we have in Homedale. There's 10 districts. I was on the county committee. The county committee has zero influence, power, or authority on who's the selected candidate. Zero. To prove that, I've printed out numerous emails, and I just want to be clear so there's no confusion. There's the one I have. Printed out numerous of them. The county committee meets to select candidates. And I have no plans of running for election in the future. Would I ever get involved in as a public servant again? 100%. But not under the current form. Where's the one I have? and this is from the current Republican chair, the current county committee has no authority on who are the candidates. That is up to the county chair. So, and even in the bylaws, it doesn't say that the county committee picks the chair or picks the candidates. It's all up to the county chair. I don't know if Homedale residents know that. I believe most of them don't. They don't understand it. It's kind of confusing. And I don't believe that's the best way for Homedale to move forward. I think the best way. Go ahead.
Just a point of understanding on what you're saying. So there's a county committee, like a Republican county committee,
Yes.
and that has representatives from, I guess, all the
Correct.
municipalities.
They're elected.
But
They're
then,
on the ballot.
but then
Yeah.
then you're referring to a county commissioner.
No,
Or,
county.
County
no, so
chair.
there's a local chair which represents the county committee. So there's a Republican and there's a Democrat county committee. There's a Democratic county committee and there's a
Mhm.
Republican county committee. There's 10 districts in town. Each district is represented by two
Right.
people, one male, one female. Obviously, it's no surprise to anybody that Homedale is a majority Republican town. So the Republican Party typically, historically, has always dominated the politics in this town. But the county committee, their main job is to register voters, put out signs, and make phone calls.
okay, so then you refer to the county chair. That's somebody different?
That's
That's one
somebody,
person?
that's one person. That's somebody that does not live in Homedale, has no, he doesn't, that individual doesn't live in Homedale, but he's the one who decides who gets the coveted line. And the coveted line is, if you're on the line, this is, the problem in Homedale is that the ballot, our election ballot has been weaponized. It's been weaponized, ironically, by a politician that carries a gun, ironically. But it's been weaponized to divide this town. It divides numerous towns. I think we heard this in other meetings with this commission, how one individual can come in that doesn't live in Homedale, that doesn't live here, doesn't pay taxes here, but that one individual can come in and divide us because everybody covets and fights for that line. Why? Because if you're on that line, you have an 85% chance of winning.
So I know it's getting very late. I know we got a few more questions, but if I may, because I think we're into a very, very arcane area, and I if I could just jump into really for clarification for the benefit of who's watching this thing. So just to be clear, I'm going to use different terms than you. The county committee, if we call it municipal committee, I think it's easier to understand. Regardless how well they do their job or not do their job is to kind of guide and shove it through the primary process, which a candidate is supposed to be endorsed and so on. However, because of the way the ballot design, and because there is a column one, whether it's Republican or Democrat, but for Monmouth County, historically, there's a very high percentage that tend to be Republican, and that's line one. To get on that position, it actually says on a nominating petition that if you want to be, essentially, I'm going to paraphrase and shortcut a lot of stuff. If you want to be in column one, it requires the permission of the Monmouth County Republican organization or the Monmouth County Democratic organization, depending on which column you want to be. So just sticking with the Republican side. So regardless of which candidate, now in the case of last week, we heard Millstone, endorse candidate A. However, when candidate A says, I want to be in column one, it requires the permission of the Monmouth County Republican Organization, which, as you can imagine, is typically not in the local jurisdiction. So not in the local principle. So when Deputy Mayor says by someone who doesn't live in Homedale, he's referring to that process where that candidate, where he's placed, whether it's in column one or a different column, it's decided by whoever in theory controls that Monmouth County Republican organization or the Monmouth County Democratic organization. So I think just to kind of clarify, that's the process that we're currently in. And, so that's what he's not talking about at the local level. He's talking about the appearance on a ballot, which is controlled at the county level. So
Yeah,
maybe
and
with that again,
I just want to piggyback on what you said, Ken. It's, that I've heard other people speak saying that it's bad optics if we don't, if we change the form of government that we have, that we're not being open and transparent. But if two candidates go before the local Homedale County Committee, and if two candidates are voted on and those two candidates win the vote of the Homedale Local County Committee, that does not mean that they're granted the line. It has zero meaning. It has no bearing, and I think that it's that's what causes a lot of problems, and a lot of division, and a lot of drama unnecessarily in town.
all right, maybe let's keep moving because we can probably spend a lot of time on this. I'm just conscious of the time, guys.
Yep.
And let's just kind of get through as much as we can.
Sure.
Oops, sorry, we
Go
can't hear you.
ahead.
I'm sorry, I think Mike has already addressed question 8 regarding wards, so I'm going to skip that one.
Okay.
In question 9, go to the referendum one. I don't have that one on my, there it is. Homedale residents can only petition for referendum, as you know, in the case of a large budget expenditure, bond issue, something like that. Whereas other forms of government would allow residents to petition any ordinance by getting a certain percentage of the voters to sign a petition. What is your posture on that, Mike?
Yeah, I think that the more voters and residents have a say in issues, the better.
Okay.
I think I think the people are ultimately the elected officials' bosses, and the more power and the more say that they have in any initiative, in any issue in town, the better.
Very good. Any other questions regarding that from the commission? If you could make any changes to the form of government, what
I
would they
just wish
be?
I just wish it was more representative. I just wish it was representative of the population, of the demographics, of the people, and the the concerns and issues of town, of Homedale. I think I put my trust in the people of Homedale.
Are there any follow-up questions from the commission on this? Mike, would you like to add anything else to what you've already told us? You've given us a lot of information tonight.
No, I just I wish this was in person. I know. Listen, we live in some very strange times. It's listen, I haven't been riding on first aid calls. I'll be honest. I have a new job, I have a new career. I can't afford to get sick, but I still listen. Just keep all your first responders in your prayers and thoughts, because it's wild out there. Let me tell you.
Oh, we know, yeah.
And they need your help and support. It's not easy. Everybody is suffering right now. I look forward to the time when we can all meet in person. And I just wish everybody stays well. Bill, put on a mask, will you?
Thank you,
And
Mike.
that's-
And back to
I
you.
appreciate you inviting me tonight.
Thank you, Mike. Back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Nicholas. And that kind of ends it for all the official business on the agenda. Now, I know we do have one non-commissioner person on there, so I'm just going to move into public comment. If there's any public comment, please unmute yourself, raise your hand, state your name and address for the record, and fire away if there's any public questions. Okay, I see you just turn on your video, so please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Chongyin Liu, 370 Drive. First of all, thank you for your time and service for doing this very tough job. I was on mute. I was on video because I'm not a commissioner, so I'm just learning, listening, and try to understand better what we have currently and also from other towns. So again, thank you so much. And I attended last meeting too. So it spent a lot of time. I think before how you present up questions and trying to reach other people. And thank you so much for your service. I'm continuing to learn, and it's a wonderful time to learn a lot of idea. And but I think we should focus much better on how to make our local government better. For the party issue, I think we can bring into parties. Brenda, I think we'll focus more. So we won't take us 3 hours, 4 hours meeting. That's very exhausting. If you want to learn more, I think we have many more meeting. So I actually have question for our chair. Again, how long will last for those kind of guest speakers, and how many more you plan to invite to the meeting, and how long we will stay on the phase 1 as you mentioned, and how long will we stay on the next one. So do you have a general idea, so we will know how many more we could learn and also learn from other town? And do you you plan to have other town has more like 7 members or very different form? Because what I heard from other town come here, they just talking about their issue, and their issue may not be our issue. And so I think we probably need to be more focused and then give the town, the people, the guest speakers, knowing what we focus in advance, so they will focus better what they should address for us, and they know how to answer us better. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, I'm going to answer some of the questions, but, can you imagine, this is not a kind of deposition, so I like to go and make sure to be kind of open and transparent. We'll answer some of the questions, but it's not always, I want to be careful. We're not trying to set a precedent here for certain things. But so, our charge, our mission, and the plan we lay out is to study the current form of government, which is Township Committee. And then, after the study phase of it, there's a phase 2, which is to explore alternatives and the options under the alternatives. And then phase 3, which is the final phase, is deliberation and recommendation. So, we're kind of right now in phase 1. And I think we want to make sure that we have enough people that come to offer various opinion. Our charge is to study the form of government and its township committee. So it's not necessarily home. We as you can see, we have guests from Homedale and so on, but there are other towns within Monmouth County that has township committee that we think we can learn because it is that form of government and the characteristics and maybe limitations that, and we actually have heard from at least 2 towns now where I think some of the problems are very similar. Not as the same issue, but in terms of how the form of government and how candidates and other things. So we want to make sure that, we're starting to, I think, right now, between tonight and last week, we have 5 guests so far. We plan to have at least another night with at least 3 more candidates to make sure we get, not candidate, 3 more guests to come and kind of share their insight and so on. We don't want to get to a point where it's repetitive and it's repeating the same issue, but we want to make sure that we have a cross-section, of opinions and so on, so that the commission can form its opinion as to what are the benefits, limitation, what areas we could improve, which is our charge. And then I think at that point, we evaluate, we will have a public meeting that's been decided last week. We designated February 3rd as a public hearing where, in addition to public comment at the end of the meeting, people can come. We're going to set up the whole meeting just for that, if they want to come and express and share their thoughts and comments. And then I think, at that point, we can still decide to have more, maybe not. And then if not, then we'll go into phase 2, where we will look at the alternatives and so on. So I think there is light at the end of the tunnel. We're not going to be crazy and kind of have 20, because we, from a statutory basis, this commission has up to 9 months to get its job done. So we got to be careful that we don't wind up in, let's say, August and find that we're still in phase 1, as an extreme example, obviously. So I think the commission's cognizant of time. That's why we divided the plan to this. And I think so far we've gotten really good input and comment. I think pretty informative and constructive dialogue and so on. I think we'll have a little bit more of that and public hearing from the public, and then I think we'll make a decision as to we heard sufficient to kind of go into phase 2. At least that's my sense of it. That's and if any other commissioner want to jump in, feel free. But that's it. Okay. Now, you have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I have a
Okay,
follow-up question.
we won't extend the 3 minutes. You've been patient up to stay, so please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just one question. You also mentioned the nonpartisan for the election. How you look like? So far I don't think I heard any guest speaker is coming from that format. So are you planning to invite any people come
So
from
where
that?
you jump, okay, so again, let me, maybe I wasn't clear. So phase 1, which is where we're in now, is only, we're just studying the current form of government, that's why all the questions are really the characteristics of a township committee.
Mhm.
In phase 2 is when we will look at the various alternatives and the options within those alternatives. So one of the things that, given some of the input that we might look at, is nonpartisan, and so it will be in phase 2 where we might invite guests from the different options, different alternatives, and where where mayor may be elected directly, mayor is not elected directly, where the mayor have more power. There's a mayor council form of government, there's a council manager form of government. Within each, there are partisan and nonpartisan elections. And within each that, there are mayors elected directly and not elected directly. So for example, you could have all different permutations of that. You could have council manager form of government on a partisan basis, but where the mayor is elected directly. And Aberdeen would be a good example of that. You could have council manager form of government on a nonpartisan basis, and where the mayor is elected directly, or the mayor is not elected directly. So there are different forms that would be in phase 2. Phase 1, which we're still in, is only studying the township committee form of government, which is on a partisan basis.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Now, I don't see anyone, but that help me if I'm missing anything. I don't see any other non-commission, non-guest, non-advisor on this. So if that is correct, what I will do is then like to get a motion to adjourn this meeting. I will close the public comment portion of the meeting and ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Moved.
Any
Second.
I move.
You move, and then there was a second I heard from Bill, was it?
Yes.
Okay, good. All in favor? Voice
Aye.
vote. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you very much, and thank you,
Thanks,
Deputy
Mike.
Mayor and Chung Young-Lin for staying to the end. Thank you.
Good night.
All right.
Stay safe, everybody.